I guess he inherited it from our father. I looked at the stopwatch and I thought, oh, I've done something wrong. Can't be that quick.
I was born 26th of May 1939. I was the youngest of a family of 7 boys and 1 girl. We all started life out in the old homestead, as we call it, out at Quamby Brook, in a little by road off the main Quamby Brook Road, and that's where I spent my first 7 years. This is where we originally lived. You can just see the house behind the clump of wattles. We had a few horses. We had the draft horse, and I know Brother Merv had a little nice pony called Minnie, and Rex and Trevor, they had more of a purebred, an ex-military horse, and when they got on it, it used to bolt, and they used to have fun and games there. By the time I come to be, my elder brothers were sort of teenagers then, and my father was a competitive axeman, and he inspired, no doubt, and passed knowledge on to the older brothers, and the older brothers, of course, passed the knowledge on. When I came along, it was just par for the course, as you could say. I remember in the early days I had a tomahawk, and later on I gradually got a bigger axe, and that's how it sort of started.
Yeah. He's always been competitive. I guess each one of them would be competitive. That one would try and beat the other one to see if they could best them.
They used to have competition between themselves, and there was a bit of rivalry there. I hear that they used to chop for prizes, pencil cases and rubbers and pencils and things like that, and they got pretty competitive. I had my first chop Boxing Day 1955 at a little place on the northwest coast called Blythe Heads, and I competed there it was a novice event, but in those days they called it a mug's job. You know, it was an old fashioned name that was handed down from early days of wood chopping, and I didn't do any good that day, but on the Monday, on the 28th at Somerset, the big carnival, they had a novice chop there, and I won that. That was my first win. I didn't compete in a tree felling championship until I was 30. There was a few reasons for that. I didn't think I was good enough. My brothers Ray and Doug were the top tree fellers. I wasn't probably competitive enough and professional enough, plus the fact that I was married when I was 20, and chopping sort of got by the way a little bit. And it wasn't until we shifted back to Lorraine in the end of '64 that I got back into wood chopping, and from then on things seemed to blossom.
We were married in the Catholic Church, Deloraine, and the reception was held in the school, which was next to the church, in the school hall, and that's nearly 60 years ago.
At Melbourne show I won the Australian title there 19 times, from 72 through to 93. But this particular year in 1982, I didn't think the competition was as strong as other years, and I really went for it, and things just worked out perfectly.
I know I had a stopwatch and I timed him, and when I stopped it I thought, oh, I've done something wrong, can't be that quick.
It would have been as soon as they gave the all clear, and they would have announced it over in the next few minutes.
Just sitting there, oh my goodness.
I know you have fantasy dreams at times, and you're sort of there daydreaming, and you think you know of an axe that's sort of got to go through the log in one hit and all this type of things, but I didn't sort of think that much of it. I'm not an excitable type of a chap, and I took it in stride, and thinking back now, I probably realise it was more important than what I thought at the time.